Bada bing, bada boom. Social Inform Media.
This story comes to us from AL.com. Now, what do you do when cops throw away the evidence? Do you get upset or do you go, well, we need proof they threw away the evidence? Well, let's look at it. The alleged murder weapons in the slaying of a U.S. Army veteran, a necktie and a dog leash, were inadvertently thrown away by Homewood police, and the suspect's attorneys are asking for the capital murder charge to be dropped because there's no weapons, right? There's no leash and there's no necktie. Now, Alexandria Nicole Davis was arrested in September of 2021, a day after 30-year-old Johnny Will Anderson III was found dead and decomposing in his apartment. Anderson, according to court documents, was found with a necktie and a dog leash around his neck. The Jefferson County Coroner's Office ruled his death a homicide by strangulation. Public defenders Paul H. Rand and Sammy Shaw are asking that the capital murder charge be dismissed, saying that there's no way to get a fair trial without such important evidence. Well, there's no evidence. The dog leash and the necktie are so critical to the defense as to make any trial without them fundamentally unfair. And that was wrote in the motion. And yeah, you say we was strangled with a necktie and a dog leash. Do we have those? No, the cops threw him away. Then how do we know? How do we know he wasn't strangled because he slipped and fell on something, or because, a rope he was trying to do? I don't know. It's a whole bunch of theories. Anyway, the motion states there is no other way other than by the items themselves to determine who was in contact with the necktie and the leash, especially not during the time between Miss Davis left the apartment and the body was discovered. And that's another thing. You don't have fingerprints. They were probably on the necktie and the leash. Jefferson County District Attorney Jessica Hepson contended in a hearing that the missing physical evidence, which also included the victim's clothing, is still documented through crime scene photos, but not the leash and the necktie. Along with other evidence still intact, Hepson said this is not a case of irreparable justice. Well, if you don't have any other fingerprints other than the necktie and the leash, you don't know if it was her. Maybe it was some jealous lover or something, or maybe it was a break-in. And maybe it was her. Who knows? Hepson said, that's the prosecutor, is the state's position that what happened does not impact the ability of the state to proceed to trial in this case. We await a ruling from the court on the defense motion. Now, Jefferson County Circuit Judge Alaric May said a hearing on the matter was held this week, and the judge said it will be 1 to 2 weeks before he rules on the motion, but he had strong words about the matter. Well, let's see what those words were. Judge May said, "This was probably in my 30 years of practicing and on the bench the most deplorable handling of evidence I've ever seen." Well, you didn't see the Rodney King trial, did you? He says, "I've never seen anything like this." He said, "And I will say heads need to roll because this decedent, I don't care who was in fact the murderer, he deserved much better than what Homewood gave him." Ooh. He said it's put the state in a position they don't deserve to be in, as well as the defense. And nobody bears that brunt except for the Homewood Police Department. Well, the cops. There you go. The buck stops there. With the cops, right? Buck always stops with the cops. Homewood Police released a statement about the destroyed evidence. An internal investigation was conducted by the Homewood Police Department Internal Affairs Division. Ha ha! The investigation concluded that proper procedures in the handling and storage of evidence were not followed by 2 property custodians. Both property custodians were appropriately disciplined and reassigned. So I can go somewhere else and F up. Now, the victim was a father of a 10-year-old daughter, and he was found dead Friday, September 10th, 2021, at his home in the park at Buckingham Apartments on Aspen Circle. Authorities believe he'd been dead for several days. Davis, the girl, was taken into custody Saturday, September 11th at the Circle K on Lorna Road. She's charged with attempted murder in the unrelated stabbing of another woman that happened in the Birmingham on that Saturday, just hours before she was arrested in Hoover. This is getting deep. So he was found strangled. She's found stabbed. You think maybe there was a love. The lookout bulletin for the suspect in the stabbing matched the description of Anderson's missing vehicle, a gray Dodge Charger. An officer spotted the wanted vehicle that Saturday afternoon. Now, both Homewood and Birmingham police also responded to the scene, and Birmingham police placed Davis in the Birmingham City Jail pending their ongoing stabbing investigation. That's right. You can send letters to her at the Birmingham jail. Anyway, Birmingham detectives charged Davis with attempted murder and obstruction of justice, claiming she provided them with a false identity. So that one wasn't a murder. Days later, Homewood police charged her in Anderson's death. And it goes down from there. There's talk about meth and needles. There's talk about she was frightened of him. A whole bunch of stuff. It goes way down. I'll put a link to it in the description box. But the bottom line here is the cops had the evidence. They had it. They had this victim. I mean, not the victim, the suspect. Everything was right. And all of a sudden now they don't have the leash and the necktie. Which, it's almost like if someone gets killed with a butcher knife and you say, where's the knife? I don't know. There you go.